Have you ever heard of the man who invented the light bulb? Well, this is Thomas Edison. In the late 800s, people already had ideas for electric light bulbs, but they simply weren't practical. Either they burned out too quickly, used too much electricity, or simply didn't glow properly. Edison and his team worked day and night, testing material after material after material. Thomas tried about 1,000 ways to make the light bulb work, yet he made a mistake over and over again. Mistake. Such a harsh word, right? Now, imagine failing 1,000 times. Me personally, I would have given up around attempt number 12, maybe 13 on a good day. But they didn't. And after all those nights they spent in the lab, their work finally paid off. They finally invented the light bulb. And when journalists asked Thomas how it felt to fail 1,000 times, he simply said, I have not failed. I've just found 1,000 ways that won't work. Now, that sentence says something powerful that maybe mistakes aren't always failure. Like sometimes it's just progress that we don't understand yet. Now, we all know Christopher Columbus, right? But do we know how his journey started off by a simple mistake? In 1492, Christopher set out on a journey to sail to Asia by sailing west. He wanted to find a faster trade route, yet he made a simple mistake. He miscalculated the distance and thought the Earth was much smaller than it actually is. And with that, he still sailed. And after weeks at sea, he finally reached land. But it wasn't Asia, it was the Americas, something completely unexpected. His mistake didn't lead him to what he was looking for, but it led him to something that changed history. Now, let's think about what if that mistake never happened? If Christopher knew the real distance, the journey would probably seem too risky and probably even impossible. He would probably never sail at all. Now, that shows us something important as well that this didn't happen because everything went right, it happened because of a simple mistake. So let's ask ourselves this question. How many things in our lives never happen, not because we fail, but because we are too afraid to begin once we believe we might be wrong? That was my problem. The fear of mistakes made me fear of making decisions at all. Like making the smallest decisions could somehow ruin my life. I felt stuck, like I was in a cage I built for myself, creating barriers that didn't even exist. And I was tired of it. I remember I thought about switching schools for 2 years straight. I kept asking myself, what if I don't make any new friends? What if I have a terrible experience? Or what if it's the worst mistake of my life? But those thoughts never left my mind until one day I've had enough. And I asked my sister for advice. And she told me something I still think about till this day. She told me that if I made a mistake and it turned out to be the wrong one, if I made a decision and it turned out to be the wrong one, I could always fix it. And if I couldn't fix it, it shouldn't be something to worry about. I should only learn from it. Sounds so simple, right? Yet it was the only thing I needed to hear. And with that newfound motivation, I took the big step and I switched schools. And I remember walking in on the first day of class, seeing all the new terrified faces, and thinking that I made the worst decision of my life. But as time went by, I soon realized that that was definitely not the case. I met new people, made new friends, and gained experiences I would have never gained if I stayed stuck making that decision years ago. In fact, I would not even have the chance to be standing here on this stage presenting today. But most importantly, I changed the way I think. Even when things didn't go perfectly, I could always move forward. And that feeling of freedom changed everything for me. And this doesn't only apply to big decisions, it can also apply in everyday life too. Like studying hard for a test and not still failing it, or applying for a tryout and not getting it, or saying something awkward in a conversation and thinking about it for 3 days straight. We have all been there. And in those moments, it's easy to feel like you failed, but what if that's not failure? What if that's just the process of reaching your goal? As Albert Einstein once said, a person who never made a mistake never tried something new. Mistakes show us something important. Mistakes show that we're trying, that we're willing to take risks, that we're stepping outside of what feels safe. So maybe we're looking at mistakes the wrong way. Maybe mistakes aren't the problem. Maybe it's what we let them from stop us doing. Because think about it. What opportunities did you walk past by just because you thought it was the wrong one? What version of you doesn't exist because you are too afraid to start? You make a mistake, you learn, you grow. But if you never try at all, nothing happens. And that is what I learned. Being safe doesn't actually keep you ahead, it just keeps you still. So, if there's a decision you've been thinking about, maybe a tryout, apply for it. A project, start it. And a chance, take it. Not because everything will turn out 1,000% right, but because not trying guarantees that it won't happen at all. So, it won't happen at all. And the moments that shaped me the most weren't the ones where everything went right. It was the ones where I took the step anyway, even when I wasn't sure. Because success without struggle doesn't happen in real life. Success alone can never teach you what failure forces you to learn. So the next time you come across making a decision, don't ask yourself, what if I fail? Ask yourself, what if I never even try? Because in the end, the only real failure is letting fear stop you from starting at all. Thank you.